Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 159 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, oh no, I'm forgetting it. I am that messed up right
Oh,
now.
wow.
All right,
Beside
Very
himself.
struggling over here. It's
I'm
okay.
beside myself. But if it's your first time listening to us, we play and talk about video games and watch movies. I'm your host Barry. Here, my
Nice.
co-host.
You
Oh
got through
man.
it.
My name is Craig, and I'm a big fan of intros, just in general.
That might be our best one. My name is also Craig.
I'm keeping this
So
in.
yeah, I would too. It was very well done. It's original.
Yeah.
It was from the heart.
Yeah.
You know what else is from the heart? The news
I
this
knew
week.
it was coming. I knew it was
Yes.
coming.
You gave me a layup, and I made it unlike
Yep.
the Sixers.
Oh, there it was.
Where it
I
was.
had to bring it in. I had to bring it in.
Composure lost.
Yeah,
It's all gone.
composure's gone. News this week. Sorry, all I got is Zelda's huge. Zelda's the only thing I can think about. Zelda sold a
Yeah.
lot. Even PlayStation and Xbox came and kind of said and celebrated the release, which is kind of rare. It
Yeah.
feels like, but I feel like Sony and PlayStation, like they probably see themselves like differently than Nintendo, and they're like, okay, we can celebrate like little brothers win. I feel like, but to be honest, based on everything right here, you have probably PlayStation and Nintendo really in the exclusive department, and Xbox is like kind of just pretending at
Yep.
the moment.
Yeah.
Xbox
Did you
is a
see,
little brother.
Yeah. Did you see the difference in the celebrations? It felt like Xbox was more heartfelt, and like Sony, I think Sony's was have fun up there or something.
Yeah.
They said something along those lines, and I was like, that sounds kind of. I didn't
I
like that.
think Microsoft has a track record of doing this. They did it to Sony. I think it was Horizon, I want to
Yeah.
say, when that came out. But yeah, I enjoy companies doing that. They should. They should be fans of
Yeah.
other games.
Yeah, celebrate.
Mhm.
Yeah, it came out that the producer of Final Fantasy right now is like playing Zelda, and to be honest, who isn't? Like, if you're a gamer, you're probably playing Zelda.
Yeah, who isn't?
Unless you hate it. Yes, Craig. We know.
I just didn't get mine yet.
Yeah.
I didn't get mine yet. It's okay.
The only other piece of news I have out is the Kevin Durant operator skin is out for
Yes.
Call of Duty.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know why I mention it, but I look at the like what you get with it. It's funny when you shoot someone, their head turns into a basketball and it blows up. That was I didn't buy it, but it was fun.
Yep. Also, kind of hidden in there with his
Novelty.
release is there was a Tim the Tapman skin as well. If you watch him on YouTube, I don't think he's on Twitch
Yes.
anymore, but his skin just came out too. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And that's good for him too. I got into him watching Doc because they play together a lot. So
Maybe if we
Yeah,
get
he's
big
a good
enough,
dude.
we'll get our own skins, operator skins in Call of Duty.
Yours would be Call of Duty at this point, and mine would be Apex.
Yeah. We've switched.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
But all par for the course. Yeah, that's all I got for news, boys. I got
All right.
over to you.
I guess I'm carrying the heavy load this week with my 5
Carry
total
it.
stories. Here we go.
Harry.
First of all, Mortal Kombat news. Everybody likes Mortal Kombat to a certain degree. First and
Yes.
foremost is that this may lose the number, and we might go back to just Mortal Kombat, kind of a reboot to the series. And also heavily in the, I don't know, maybe it happens, but it seems like it will. Following their tradition of bringing in interesting DLC characters, we have Homelander from The Boys, Peacemaker, and Conan the Barbarian. Those are interesting. I wish I was into this game more.
It feels like Conan's like the odd one out there, just because of like what we know about Homelander and Peacemaker. But I saw that and I was like, you know what? Those are two good DLC characters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
like
they've done.
You want to get back in?
Yeah.
They've done like horror icons, right?
Yeah.
I saw those on there. They've done a good job with their DLC characters. Again, I wish I liked that game.
Or we were any good at it. That's usually my issue. Is I'm not any good at it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I wish because I mean I like every kid played Mortal Kombat, a lot. But like I don't play it that much anymore, which, kind of makes me sad when I see DLC characters like that,
Agreed. This next one goes right towards Barry over here. This will cheer him up a little bit. I'm assuming you saw this, but maybe you didn't. Square Enix is selling a Kingdom Hearts armchair Did you see this?
I did not. I
Okay.
I, I did not.
All right. So this is a very exclusive special edition Kingdom Hearts armchair. Now, Barry,
Love
while
it.
you look that up, when you find it, I could not find anything on this chair that screamed Kingdom Hearts to me. Maybe you can, but it has a price tag of $2,200.
Ooh, I just saw that. Ooh, yuck.
What do you think of that chair, though?
Ooh.
I'm
What do you think?
trying to
Do you see anything
find.
on there like Kingdom Hearts? Because I don't.
It's just black.
Yeah, it's just a black chair.
Okay,
It's
there's a
just a
Mickey
black chair.
symbol,
Supposedly,
the heartless
supposedly the
symbol.
print is on there somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, there is like a little crown with Sora. There's a key, the logo. Yeah, there are
Who's
little
Sora?
tiny. There are like little tiny things for this, but oh my god, 2200?
Yeah,
What?
you're buying it.
No,
Yeah, you know what I hear? You know what I hear? The chair itself is stuffed with all of the lore and the timeline information for
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
I don't
That's what
need a
I
chair
hear.
to understand all that though. I have it memorized.
Oh
He has
man.
it memorized.
See, what's going to happen is the price is extremely high, but what come to find out, it's going to be like they only make 100 of them, and those 100 people that buy it get Kingdom Hearts 5 first.
Yeah, that's what they should do, to be honest. They
Yeah.
they should reward the people who had this, or the people that bought that. Like, it's not a chess set, but you guys know what
Yes.
I'm talking about. Like, whoever bought that
Hmm.
also should get, you know, a
Yep.
lot of that. But
Just further
Well,
proving my point that people will literally buy anything Kingdom Hearts related.
oh my god, yeah.
That would look
It-
so great behind you, Barry, in that corner.
yeah, you think so?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's only
yeah.
$2,200.
Yeah, I only need
What's
to mortgage my house, mortgage my apartment with that.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I thought it was.
It'll be
I
worth
looked
it.
at it and I was like, "That's interesting," and then I saw the price tag and I went, "Never mind."
And like, to be honest, I
What
thought it would be more like a home theater, like lounge chair or something like that. But it is not. Like, it is a
Mm-mm.
very small chair,
yeah.
like not meant for the size of American people.
Yeah.
I don't think it's being sold
what
over here though. I think it's over in Japan. It looks
Thank
like.
God.
what if it's not even comfortable? What if it's not even
Won't matter.
comfortable?
It won't matter. You're not supposed to sit in it for that price. You're just supposed to admire it.
Yeah, you're supposed to tell people, "Hey, you see that? That's a piece right there.
Hmm.
That's what you call it." And then
That's a piece.
yeah,
Barry's
Brings
the
the
only
room
one allowed to
together.
sit in it, and when he's done sitting in it, he immediately sprays it down and wipes it.
yeah,
Just
yep,
cleans it
That
off.
is
yeah,
Barry right there.
Yep.
That's you right there, man.
Hmm.
yeah. For $2,000,
It-
yeah, yeah.
but it's a compliment. I mean,
Yeah.
every place I've ever been to of yours has been immaculate. So
There you
Keep
go.
my house very clean.
you do.
All right. So next one I have here is the I need your guys' opinion on the Asus, the ROG Ally, the next
Um,
handheld, whatever you want to call it. $699 is the price. I actually had a coworker reach out to me and be like, is something I should get? And I went, no,
uh,
absolutely
no.
not. I don't. I'm assuming these are selling. I just don't know the people who are buying these.
So and I've read a little bit about this over the past week, but like I think the main thing is apparently the screen, like the resolution is a lot better than what the Steam Deck is. So
Okay.
I guess if you're looking for the next premium like experience with doing your Steam library on the go, apparently this is it. Where
Okay.
The Steam Deck doesn't nearly get as bright or nearly has the
Yeah.
resolution that this one has. But I think good on Asus for at least releasing
Yeah.
something in that similar space, because right now only the Steam Deck really competes in that area.
Yeah, and they're jumping on the rise in handheld power devices, which is, what the Steam Deck was doing to kind of not mock the fact, but like acknowledge the fact that the top handheld was not working on their hardware. And, they could also take advantage of obviously everything that you can play non-Nintendo licensed and, and such. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
it's just make your money.
Do you feel like this is too much though? Because the Steam Deck's what, 550, right?
It
Isn't
is
it 5?
definitely too much.
So you think 700 is pushing it for the better
But
screen?
this,
It, it
yeah,
depends. Like, I think for a lot of people, like people are starting to look at these things almost as laptop replacements. almost in a
Hmm.
way, or especially gaming laptop replacements. So I think if it's like your sole gaming like device, I think it might be a good idea, or that it's not that overpriced considering what it would cost you for a PC and
Right.
monitor and keyboard and
Hmm.
mouse kind of thing. So it I don't know. I think maybe it's a little bit easier access to PC gaming, than it's kind of the
True.
flip coin of it there.
True.
Hmm.
All right, next one. This is more news for me, I guess, but confirmation from Nintendo: no Switch successor before April of 2024. So that answers my question that we were talking about before about
Yeah.
holding out for a new version. Definitely not coming this year. Can't say I'm surprised, but I also don't believe there's one coming sometime after April of next year either.
With the way they sell, I guess I could see why, but overall, and we'll talk about it a little bit later with Zelda, but I can't help but wonder the missed opportunity that Zelda could have been on a more
Yeah.
powerful system.
Mm-hmm. True.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, we can definitely go into that, but like you're definitely right there. That was the game to really kind of launch the pro version of the Switch on, if any game to do so,
Yeah.
But
And last one I have, we were talking about Metal Gear Solid 3 remake a couple weeks ago. So we got some rumors here that the remake may, in fact, be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and that we're going to get a reveal at the PlayStation Showcase. I believe that's what, next month, June, right?
Yeah, June.
I think. Um, okay, I guess I can see why it would be a PlayStation exclusive. I guess. Does it
I
need to
mean
be? No.
the original one was the original
Right.
Metal Gear Solid was. So I guess they're following
Mm-hmm.
that aspect.
Right.
Um I saw a little bit more about it. Like some insider mentioned that there was just like a just general deal with Konami and Sony, which is why we have 6 Silent Hills coming.
Right.
And now like they're going to start with the first Metal Gear Solid, I guess in chronological timeline order.
Yeah.
It's not Kingdom Hearts timeline, but it's an easier
Yep.
one to follow. It's just so easy to make that joke. I'm sorry, guys.
We haven't heard
It's
anything from Silent Hill since that announcement, right? It's been kind of
yeah. Well,
quiet.
they're
What?
busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that last year?
I
Last summer? Or was it
think it
after
was.
summer? Has it been a year already since we saw that?
No, I thought
I
it
feel like
was
it
in
was
like
July or
fall.
August.
I
Okay.
thought it was like maybe edging toward fall.
Okay. I mean, you would think one of those 5 million games would be coming out relatively soon, right?
You'd hope. Like the main thing for me is I never got to experience like the early Metal Gear Solid. My first one was Guns of the Patriot, and talk about an
Right.
onboarding process. But I'd like to see some of the older like games remastered just for a chance for me to maybe get to play them and get to learn more about it. It was the same thing with Resident Evil 4, where
Right.
that game ushered in a whole new fandom for the Resident Evil franchise because 4 was such a beloved game, and now it's kind of made with modern the controlling. So
Right.
hopefully we get the same thing with Metal Gear.
I'm
Yeah.
personally like I would much rather them remake the first Metal Gear Solid before the third one. I get why they're doing it. Metal Gear Solid 3 is considered the best. And I know we had that it was on Xbox and PlayStation, like the 360 and PS3. They had that collection, which I think I still have,
Yeah,
which was what, 2 and 3, I think.
two and
Not the first
three.
one. Yeah.
Well, there is one that came out that had the first one.
There was one on
I'm pretty sure.
GameCube that had the first one
Yeah.
kind of remastered. But I want the first one remastered. Modern
Yes.
controls, give me all that, but like I play that game enough. I'm tired of playing it on PlayStation 1 graphics. Like I want to
Mm-hmm.
see the Resident Evil approach to Metal Gear Solid 1. Give me
Yeah.
that. And I'll take Metal Gear
Yes.
Solid 3. I'm not going to complain, but like give me 1 and 2.
Yeah, like I see what they're doing because of like when it is, but
Right.
like in the series. But I agree with you. I don't know if this is an unpopular take or anything, but out of the four, Metal Gear Solid 3 is my least favorite,
Mhm.
actually. I think the first one and the fourth one contend for the best and my favorites. I think technically, the fourth one is the best. I think the first one did so many things historically for video games that it should be just in the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm.
And Sons of Liberty is actually underrated, I think. People didn't like that you played as Snake for a little bit and then you played as Raiden for the majority of it. It was kind of controversial at the time because you had one, and then in the second one they killed Solid Snake off,
Right.
which Solid Snake doesn't die. So
Right.
but I don't know. Like I would rather see one before anything else as well, because like, can you picture just Psycho Mantis, Ninja,
Yep.
Vulcan Raven,
Yep.
modern Vulcan Raven,
Yep.
like some
Sniper
just
Wolf.
big Sniper Wolf,
Yep. Man.
some of the best bosses.
You know what's
It's
funny is I'm the opposite too. Is 4 is where I stopped playing Metal Gear Solid games. Because that
That's
transition from the first 3 to 4 and 5, which were like heavy on the cinematics, that's where I noped out of there. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore.
the fourth
yeah,
one just brings everything to a close though. It just brings everything to
I
a
want to
close. You don't
play.
want
I
that
don't want to watch a movie.
hour ending
No.
cinematic. I know you've heard about it
Oh,
before.
I've seen it. I definitely watched it, but I just, to me, like that's where it started getting bad. And I know everybody likes 4,
Yeah.
but man, like just too many cutscenes.
yeah. I think the one opportunity that's maybe being missed here is like Metal Gear is such like an influential franchise that we kind of started getting the Splinter Cell, like Conviction, Blacklist, and things like that. Like because we haven't had a game like that in a while, like a modern, Metal Gear Solid can play like that if we
Hmm.
Yeah.
wanted to, and that's a game that I think people keep clamoring for Sam Fisher to come back
Yep.
from the Splinter Cell series. Why not, Snake? In a way.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know. That's my thinking. That's why I would hope that whether it's 3. I've never played 1, 2, or 3. I didn't play the PSP game either. Like I jumped
Oh
on
yeah.
4. I jumped on 4. Like I have no idea what 4 was referencing. So
Yeah.
there's so much I
And
still
you
don't
still liked
understand,
it.
and I still
And you
liked
still
it.
liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
And that there's a lot of information in the first three, and you still like there is a lot of
Hmm.
information, and you still liked four. So like that's saying something. If they Resident Evil for this and like do it correctly, and if they do all of them correctly, the way Resident Evil has been doing two and three, and four and such, then we got something here, and they can revitalize this series,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people can see why it's almost an immortal series, because you can't play those. Well, at least you can't play the first one anymore. Like, I don't know who,
Right.
who has a PlayStation that works and an intact game disc to be able to do that.
I'm one of the
Well,
few. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, it's hard to find
besides the
that game
Wizard,
now.
it
And when
is.
you do, it's extremely overpriced. For how common that game is, it should not be as expensive as it is to get,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, those are the only news stories I had.
Okay. Well, I got a couple. Speaking of developing, so there is news and actually a piece of concept art that came out from Game Freak. Apparently, the revered the revered makers of Pokemon are working on a new IP that is not Pokemon. It is codenamed, let me see, Project Bloom. And if you look up the concept art, it has like a lone, looks like a Japanese soldier kind of sitting in a very nice floral background. So I don't know. Game Freak to me is Pokemon. They're not really
They've made
any
other
type
stuff
of like,
Yeah,
Pokemon
they have
related.
made.
Yeah.
yeah, but like it's just interesting to see that drop, because I don't know. It's also kind of a way, I guess, to redeem themselves, because Game Freak is not the most favorite of the developers right now, just based off of the Scarlet Violet kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting. Um, Also, I found that when you have names of games called like Project Bloom or stuff like that, that gets me wanting to play it a little more. I don't know how you guys feel about that. It's not That's like
It's
a
super
weird
generic.
Craig thing, but it sounds like it's just a masterpiece in the making. Like
Yeah, but they,
Project.
like Barry said, they've made other things and they have, in my opinion, have not found the success outside of Pokemon. So like my
Yeah.
my faith in them to make a non-Pokemon game is not very high, honestly. but that could just be me. I don't know. Maybe people see Game Freak and they're like, oh, I'll try that out. But the last one they did was like Little Something Town. I remember trying that and being like, no, this isn't it.
Not a, this isn't it.
This
This
isn't
ain't it,
it.
Chief.
Yeah.
This ain't it, Chief.
But I
Um,
like for the most part, like I'll just get to say like Pokemon will always be there for them. I'm glad like that they kind of switch the team up to do something else. Hopefully, like they rotate in because I couldn't imagine making the same thing over and over
Yeah.
and over and over again. So I think for the most part, maybe these games that come out are almost like therapy for Game Freak because they get to work on something other than
yeah,
Pokemon. So
It's
you know,
true.
hopefully that and hopefully that's not really the case, but like that's what I have to imagine because Game Freak knows that Pokemon is the money that they can print out. And I guess when you have that much money you can print out, you can take the time to develop games that maybe aren't going to be as popular or anything like that. But developers deserve to keep their
yeah,
minds fresh. I can't imagine the monotony that would go into
yeah.
developing
Hmm.
the same game over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like Guns and Roses, for example. Slash. How many times has Slash played that opening riff to "Sweet Child of Mine"? He's got to be tired of playing that freaking song. But that song is a big moneymaker and a big, hit for them. But the monotony of playing that riff is probably just bored him out of his mind. It's got to be maybe similar with developers. Like, you're kind of right there, Barry. Keep the mind fresh, do something different, you know. But that was a weird analogy. Um, but like that, I wouldn't be me if I didn't make a weird analogy. Also, we have the partner list for Summer Game Fest that got released. There's a lot of names on there. PlayStation's name is still on there. So like we have like a will they, won't they, need to be on there kind of thing because they have their own thing going on. But there's a lot of good partners on that list. You have Amazon, you have Annapurna, Devolver Digital, EA, Netflix is on that list. So like there's a bunch of things. It looks like that it's going to be quite the nice time. And I believe it's June 8th that it, I think
Yeah,
it's
I think
June
it's coming
8th that
up.
it comes out. Yeah, June 8th because Xbox has its showcase on the 11th.
Hmm.
So gamers in the beginning of June, you're going to get a lot of news. I'm interested to see this PlayStation one. Maybe we will get that Metal Gear Solid 3 like actual
Yeah.
like announcement slash hopefully some gameplay as well. Um, Other than that, the Hogwarts Legacy Switch port has gotten pushed back. It is scheduled to release on November 14th.
That's never coming out.
It's
I don't.
it's
I
getting
think they're
pushed.
going to cancel it.
Yeah, they're saying the trying to create the best experience for the gamer thing. That standard. Uh, we're trying to make the best possible experience. I just don't know. I can see why. For that type of game, I don't know how that game runs in a fluid manner on the Switch, but that's just me. I mean,
It's got to be streaming, right?
it's
You
got
would
to be.
think. Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think is like the percentage of people who are waiting to play this game and haven't purchased another console to play it on and are just diehard waiting on the Switch? It can't be very big.
Yeah,
No, it can't be.
especially it can't be very big, and especially considering, and I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but like we haven't heard anything about the performance issues on Xbox or PS4. Like, so the
Yeah.
game obviously came out and runs okay on those
Yeah.
systems,
Mm-hmm.
or nobody bought it. It's one of the two. But
Could be that too.
yeah, but like regardless, it's like the Switch is that severely underpowered console that's so different from all the rest, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine some poor kid is probably like excited for Hogwarts Legacy and they may never get it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
and I can't imagine how fast that would drain your Switch battery. Like you got to have that thing hooked up to like a
Oh my
a
God. Yeah.
battery
There's no
thing.
portable.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no portable with that.
It's probably the same kid who's still waiting for Final Fantasy VII remake on Xbox.
Yeah, but at least he has an Xbox then.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's got burned twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also is telling his mom to pre-order Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Don't worry, it'll
Mm,
eventually go there. It will.
It'll never show up.
Yeah.
right. But I don't know. That's all I had for news. I also have the unboxing of the collector's thing if you want to do that now, or do you want to do it while we're talking about Tears of the Kingdom? So that
I
way there's
mean,
like talking while I'm taking it
there
out.
you go. I like that.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
prefer? I was about to say, do you want to focus on the unboxing portion, and I'll give my, I guess, impressions? Or no, we'll let Craig
Yeah.
talk about the game first because I know
Oh
he's
yeah, yeah.
very excited. Yeah, Craig. What are your
You-
impressions on Tears of the Kingdom?
I don't even have it yet.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
So I have 0 impressions so far. But you can bet that I am just waiting for my personal game of the year to show up so that I can dive into this masterpiece.
All right.
That was all sarcastic, by the way.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
I am going into this with an open mind. I want people to know that. Like, I am 100% going to give it my best effort. I'm not writing it off. But I don't think I will like it because from what I've been seeing, it looks like it's a lot of the same.
Yeah. So I do want to ask you, Craig, if
Yeah.
you want to go grab your collector's edition, you can.
Mhm.
For the
Grabbed it.
next thing that I do want to talk to you about is like, what do you want us to stay away from anything? Like we're
Oh,
gonna
I
go
don't care.
spoiler free as much as we can.
Oh, thank God.
Go, you
Um,
do what you got to do because I don't care.
yeah, because the main thing here, and Craig,
Yes.
how many hours have you played?
I am maybe 12 to 15.
What?
Hours
Already?
already? Wow, good on you. Good on you, man. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm
Did you
maybe
sleep?
5.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Oh my
Is
god.
this like an ASMR podcast now? Or are you gonna start?
Oh man. Oh
I
man.
could. Let me tell you a very quick story about this. I bought this on Amazon. You guys know this story, and I
He's
this
holding it
was
like a
slated.
baby.
This was slated to arrive on Monday, and I talked to two separate Amazon representatives via chat, and I was like, "Look, I was like, I'm not trying to be mean, and like, I'm a nice guy when I talk to customer service reps." And I was like, but the whole thing with pre-ordering is you want to kind of get it on the day. And right now it's showing me, and I think it was like last week or the week before I talked to them. I was like, you're telling me based on this delivery information that a game that's coming out on the 12th, I'm getting on the 16th, maybe even 17th. I was like, is there anybody I can talk to about that? And they were like, well, it's because of the warehouse that we're sending it from. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm not going to argue about it. So I had a backup copy coming from another retailer, but this got shipped on the correct day that you would ship a pre-ordered item. It showed up promptly at like 12 or 1 p.m. Perfect timing. And that's why I have about, almost 15 hours down into the game. So that's a very quick story.
Yeah, yeah. And just so people have an idea, like I'm not sure how far Craig is into it. We did not get early copies. Nintendo, maybe
Yeah,
next
what are you
time.
doing,
Yeah,
Nintendo?
yeah. Maybe next time you can hook us up or something with early copies. So these are. I'm pretty sure. Let's stick to initial first impressions. I would say, Craig. I don't want to go too
Yeah,
much into spoiler. Not that there isn't much to spoil, at least where I am at the moment. But all right, the
I'll
main
start
event.
unboxing while you talk.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
do
main
it.
event: Zelda Tears of the Kingdom slash Breath of the Wild 1.5. Um,
Yeah.
the game. So overall, like the opening portion is the game does a really good job of setting the scene for you. It's kind of alluded to in a couple of the trailers that you get to see with Zelda and Link exploring a cavern. These are not any sort of spoilers there, and then it goes from there. Overall, like I'm trying to like not try to spoil things for people who maybe aren't as far, but you then immediately start getting into the meat and bones of the game. It feels a lot like Breath of the Wild. There are weapon degradation, I guess is what I'll call it. There
Mhm.
is
Gross. Why
You
do
know,
they
there's
do that?
cutting wood. See, the thing, like, a lot of people like it apparently because it forces you to
Who?
use different weapons. I don't know. This is what I hear.
That's like my least of all the things to come out in the past 10 years in gaming. That has to be, if not number one, near the top. Who decided that weapons breaking was a good thing? Ugh,
It's all
I
about
can't stand it.
it's the survival thing, with the
Okay.
game. Is like you have to constantly be foraging and creating things, out of
Same thing
nothing.
with Resident Evil 4 with the knife. Just stop. Anyway,
So overall, the main mechanic in this game is that there isn't 500 different runes. There's no need for bomb runes. There's no need for the ice rune. There's no need for all of the stasis rune. You then now have Ultra Hand is what you end up getting, and it is the main crutch of this Zelda game. Ultra Hand allows you pretty much to do everything that the old other runes could do, but also allows you to stick things together and make objects. A big portion of this game is, I guess, the creativity portion of it, and you're kind of dumped into one of the sky islands very early, and it's up to you. They give you the same old stuff. It's time for you to go and figure out what's going on and how you can
is that a
defeat
puzzle?
the evil.
It looks like it, right?
Looks like a
It's
puzzle
just
box.
it's just a box to house this guy.
Those
Sorry to
were
interrupt.
pins before, right?
Those
That I
were
saw.
pins, yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't know what I'm gonna do with those. Those are my least favorite thing.
What do people do with
But
pins nowadays?
I
I'm
put
just
them on a pin board. I've got like a pin board.
okay. I don't have a pin
here's
board.
here's the really cool thing that came with it. So it's got this is like some art that I'm gonna unwrap, but it comes with
Okay.
like a really highly magnetized magnet.
Hmm.
And then
Okay.
What does the magnet say?
it says magnet things like what to do and not do. Like
Oh,
important.
okay.
This
What?
magnet will kill you. Nah, but like
Why is
this
there a
is what it
magnet
looks.
though?
So wait, is that a magnet? Like the picture itself is magnetic, or
Yeah.
no? Okay, so I guess it's so
Yeah,
you
like
could.
you can hang it somewhere. So you can
Okay.
hang it somewhere.
Gotcha.
Is
Like
that
your
like a
fridge.
displate almost kind of thing? Like, is it like a displate magnetic
Yeah.
thing? Maybe
Hmm.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
it feels almost like a license plate, in a way,
Okay.
and like how it's set up. But that's it with just kind of like Link in the Sky. I'm just trying not to get a glare on it. Sorry,
Yeah.
my light's right behind her.
Please. Okay. I'm not digging on Zelda in any way, but hold that up again. That picture. Do you not feel like there's something missing there?
Like the
It's
logo
like
or the name?
it's so empty.
Yeah,
Like
it's.
that
I mean,
whole
it's
like
just.
left section is just I don't know. I just look at it, I'm like, it looks like you could put something there. Maybe you don't want the logo. Maybe that's a little too tacky. I don't know. It's just something. It
I
feels like
guess
there's something that should attach there.
yeah, it is weird seeing my reflection in the picture.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, it is a little surreal there.
That is a cool though plate though. I like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably the coolest thing you've shown off so far. I
Yeah.
was hoping that there was some sort of like certificate of authenticity sort of deal with that because they made so little of these things apparently. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing, and then we could get back into it, is
Oof, that's a
this is
big
a
book.
this is a
ooh, that's
it's a
a
pretty
that's a clean
that's
art
a
book.
hefty art book.
It's a clean
Yeah.
art
It's
book.
got
Yeah.
it's got like all
Ooh.
kinds of stuff in
Don't
I
there.
open
like
any
that.
other pages. Don't open any other pages.
Yeah, it's a hefty art book.
If
This
you
is
open one
this
more page, Nintendo will find you and give us copyright
right.
strikes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I don't even know if
Yeah,
there
it's
are any sort of spoiler stuff in there, but I'm just trying to be careful.
no, of course. That's pretty much it. I had to open it to take out the game, obviously, but the
Mhm.
steelbook is pretty interesting too. It's got kind of like a rune thing going on.
That is
I
cool.
don't know.
Looks like an alien.
Yeah, I don't know that like the steelbook to me is very boring. Like I guess coming from the Fire Emblem ones that I have, like the
Oh,
Engage
well,
one
that's
is a
why.
lot prettier. What do you mean that's why?
I,
Um,
I actually don't know why I said that. That's probably just a positive thing to Fire Emblem. Is probably
yeah,
what
I
I was
bet.
going for.
Yeah, I bet. I think it's a dig at me, as if I'm not already getting attacked enough. But continuing my thoughts on Breath of the Wild while he's cleaning up the collector's edition opening. Thank you, Craig, for opening that live for the podcast here. We appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Sorry about the bad camera angles. I don't open things a lot on camera, so I was
Uh,
just like,
You
I
need
think
you
it's
need
like
white
this,
gloves.
yeah, I feel like I need to
right?
get you white gloves. That's what we need.
Yes.
Like, we'll all have a pair of white
Yeah.
gloves for when we unbox things.
Also, anything you say about this game is invalid because you just called it Breath of the Wild.
Did I crap?
Yeah. Well, that just means you think it's Breath of the Wild 1.5.
Well, to be fair, and that's kind of the point. It definitely
Ooh.
feels like it is. Like the game
Okay.
is not graphically any better.
Mhm.
Uh, there are frame rate issues. Anytime you stick more than three things together, the frame rate immediately start like the game starts to
Hmm.
chug. Like I I get why it's getting the high praises. I don't see why it's 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 from
Mhm.
almost every person. Like I'm glad that Game Informer, shout out to Jeff Hilliard, who I've always liked, of MinMax, like he at least rated it a 9.75 or like for it. This is not a
Mhm.
perfect game. There is a lot of
Mm.
retreaded ground here. There is a lot of frame rate issues, but am I having fun? Am I enjoying it? Yeah, I am. Like the sense of creativity in this game makes me feel more creative than I almost ever have in any other game. And I haven't like
Yeah.
played the Scribble Knots games, which you can
Those
like
are
type
great.
in whatever you want and it pops up in the game kind of thing. I never played those. So I
I
feel
miss
like
those.
it's that kind of same creativity to the puzzles you get to go through. The the game is essentially like a lot of Breath of the Wild, or yeah, Breath of the Wild. But the main thing there is that this game is so much more expansive. With there is an entire like Sky Island area above you. There's Hyrule, and then the biggest secret to this game, which you learn very early on. So I don't think this is a spoiler. There is an
It's not.
entire underground map
Hmm.
underneath Hyrule that is the size of Hyrule. So it
Wow.
Yeah.
is a almost three-stage tier game with tons of stuff to do in it. It's huge. Like it feels like it's Elden Ring big. It feels like there's definitely a lot of Elden Ring like map size sort of stuff into it
Yeah.
because the game, and we kind of learn we've I've been learning this now. The game does a lot of tricks for loading. Like there are loading screens in this game, but
Hmm.
when you go into the underground, there isn't like a load screen. It's just Link falling down a hole in live
Oh.
time. And then I imagine as he's doing that, the game is taking the time to process the entire underground that is going on there. um it's a really surreal sight, to be honest, like seeing the entire map size and how big it is and everything like that. And it can definitely be overwhelming, much like it is with many open world games, which is kind of the portion of like old Zelda games that I miss. I really miss or old gaming that I miss, where it wasn't didn't feel like it was going to take me forever to travel from one side of the map to the other, sort of deal there. But I I enjoy the creativity in this game. There is at one point, and it's shown in trailers as well, where you put together your own flying machine. And I have to admit, that was really cool. There was a part of me that went, "Oh crap, like I'm flying." And then I turned to the left or right slightly and I'm like, "Oh crap, I'm now steering it."
Yeah.
Based on where he is. And I can't tell you how many times I've died because my
Yeah.
glide bird just doesn't go correctly where I want it to, or like the fans that you put on these like on your makeshift boats and stuff don't exactly go straight or to the left or right. You fall off the map early in the game. But that's all trial and error stuff, and I don't mind that. I know that the mistakes I have made are me exploring the game and trying to figure out more of its stuff. And I did want to ask you, Craig, have did you play long enough in the first island to find the optional boss on that first island?
I don't think I explored enough of the optional island to find that boss. I'm off
Okay,
the island. I'm on the ground.
as am I. I'm on the ground now
Okay.
as well, but there's an optional boss up in that main first island. So if you ever get back up to that first island, look at that. I spent way
Okay.
too much time on that first
Got you.
island trying to figure out. But then again, the whole thing about the weapon degradation, which, I know you're not as happy about, Craig, is the fact that you can fuse your weapons to stuff. I can put a boulder at the end of my sword for whatever reason. I can put a boulder on the end of a lance for whatever reason. According to the game, lore, is that after this, the upheaval, it corroded all the weapons in the land. So now they are very fragile weapons, and Nintendo's pretty much telling you at that point, like, hey, you're not finding the swords and stuff that you did in Breath of the Wild for Tears of the Kingdom. Like, you gotta like fuse stuff in order to
Yeah.
survive. Like, you have to. I do really like the fuse mechanic on arrows. I really think that's creative. I can fuse an eye to an arrow and it makes it a homing
Mhm.
arrow.
Yes.
I can put like a fire fruit and it's a fire arrow. I can put ice choo choo jelly, I think is what it is, and it ices
Yes.
people. I do like that portion of it. Cooking is still about the same in the game. And that's why, like, I feel like a lot of this is just Breath of the Wild too, but the creativity that it's allowing me to express in the stuff that I create is something like what like I've never felt, to be honest. It really, during that first trial, one of the characters literally tells you you can use this to literally make whatever like you can imagine. And I think that's a big
Yeah.
line. I think that's literally telling you like make what you want. And see what works kind of deal. But I've monologued for long enough. Craig.
Yeah, you've hit a lot of the correct things on the head there. So, like with the creation of everything, that is it totally changes how shrines are. It totally changes how movement is. Um at some point in the game when I was playing, I think it was maybe, I don't know, hour 4 or 5, I just had to tell myself that not everything I make is going to be perfect because when you're fusing, you're literally, kind of like, holding the item up in the air and you're trying to navigate it and rotate it so that it can fuse correctly. So if that's a fan to make your boat go, you're trying to do it like perfectly. You could spend a lot of time doing that. When
And just before you go, one thing I will mention is like that rotating mechanic is a little annoying. I don't know
it
why we
is,
can't hold R and then use the joysticks to rotate it how we want. Like,
yeah,
that would make it so much easier to put things in place than where we want to. Where
yeah, you're right.
as of right now you have to hold R and the directional buttons rotate it and things like that. It's just like, why can't you
Yeah.
just let us have like free ball it? But go ahead.
And yeah, and sometimes it doesn't go where you want to. I shove my items up against walls or harder objects to try to figure out how to do that, or how to make it do what I want it to do. But like that just changes everything that you're doing. There's a little bit of a Breath of the Wild 1.5 in there. Like for example, cooking is back, like you said, Barry, but they added a small feature where like they save the recipes now, so you don't have to remember every single recipe that you're trying to create. You can actually just go to the item and select like from like when you go to like an apple, you'll see a button that says like select recipes and everything that you've made involving an apple is there so you could just make it real quick and then it'll get all of the items for that recipe. For those of you who played Breath of the Wild way longer or shorter than me, that's huge. It's huge. You're always cooking in that game. But one of the things that makes it different is like for example when they start you out, that is as cinematic as I've ever seen Zelda. I'm not going to tell you for the people who haven't played what it was or what goes on, but you start and they kind of, I don't know, they kind of like Hollywood you, like it's just this crazy opening. And they lay out the story pretty easily for you, so it's like, it's like right there, but like and then all of a sudden you have your tutorial island, which you could spend anywhere from an hour to 80 hours because there's so much to do. So, but like that's something that different that I think that Breath of the Wild didn't do as much. You could clearly see that they're trying to up the ante and like make it legendary, as if Breath of the Wild already didn't do that with this series. But there's a lot to do, guys. You get down to the ground and it just opens up. Like you said, Barry, there's a sky, a ground area, and then the underground area. The underground area, so like I'm going all over the place because I've been playing so many hours of this. But Barry, you brought up a good point with Elden Ring. So we had Breath of the Wild. It came out what, 2017, 16, 17? When
Yeah,
it
it
was when the
was
Switch came out.
5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you had that, and you had this expansive world that was incredible, right? You had Elden Ring come out last year. Elden Ring was like, all right, I see you with your expansive world. I know they're not directly competing, but I see you with this expansive world. I'm going to raise you a complete underground that's another 25 hours and arguably a better storyline than the actual above ground storyline. And then you have Tears of the Kingdom that comes out, and as soon as you dive into those depths, you're like, "Oh my god, they copied Elden Ring." Not in a negative way, but it felt that way. It was, they have the sky area, they have the ground area, but then the depths are just creepy. There's no light. It's probably as Elden Ring or Dark Souls as you'll get in a video game. There's some creepy enemies down there too. Wait till you guys see the hands. That's all I'm gonna say. Um,
I have not seen
but you have
Hands
to
yet. That is this a horror game?
the,
Do I have to stop playing it?
I mean the hands Nintendo jump scared me, if that makes anything. As big of a jump scare as you can get, besides, I don't know, like the creepy zombies in Ocarina of Time. Um, but it's just like it's a depth area, but there's like very important materials down there that eventually through your playthrough you're gonna want to mine and collect and such like that. So you like have to go down there. Um, and it's just kind of a surreal feeling the first time you jump down. So like that's where I think they're upping the ante. Is there's more to they bring back some of the old characters and some of the old things. You got your stables, you have your general side missions that you're doing, and then they added completely new ones which you're just going to have to explore. It's awesome. The first time that you have to unlock a tower that allows you to be able to see a portion of the map, which you have to do in the last game and in a lot of games like Assassin's Creed or basically any game now, that's probably the best scene that I've witnessed unlocking a map oriented quest or anything. I think the only thing that's close would be Horizon with those giant what are the
Tall
giraffe
necks.
things
Tall
called?
necks.
Tall
Tall neck,
necks, thank
yep.
you. It's tall necks and Tears of the Kingdom because you guys will see it when you get to it. It's like a really cool animation.
Oh,
You get
I've
shot
gotten
up at
that far.
okay, yeah, so you've gotten that far. That's arguably one of the best things that I've seen um that they've done. But it's a fantastic game. Here's where the question is though, because I
Yeah.
was playing it and I had honeymoon, like the honeymoon kind of thing. I was like, this game is dope. This game is game of the year. And I stopped myself because I'm like, wait a minute. Like, technically, is it? Is it? Is it? Is it like as Barry was saying, tens from every single person that's ever played it? Like when I was looking up news for this podcast throughout the week after Breath of the Wild. I said, wow, now you got me doing it, Barry. After tier,
We can blame me for
after
that.
tier, after Tears of the Kingdom came out, I couldn't find any news. All I found was Tears of the Kingdom. Like it just everybody was talking about it. But is it completely flawlessly game of the year? I can probably tell you right now that it's not. Is it my game of the year? I can't tell you yet. I don't I still think Resident Evil 4 is mine. I'm going to keep saying it as these new games come out and I play it because I was completely blown away by that game. But it's definitely built on a lot of the things that Breath of the Wild immortalized. It's a super entertaining game. I love every second of it, but being critical, I don't think it's in that territory until I play. Maybe if I play more, I might think that, but I don't know. It's awesome though.
Yeah, like it's in my top 10 probably right now. Like I can absolutely say it's somewhere in my top 10. But for someone like Craig who is coming in and he does not, he doesn't have the highest of hopes for this game. It feels a
Right.
lot like Breath of the Wild. It really does. And I'm not sure, like, we do know that they've come out and they've pretty much said this, like, you do get more traditional dungeons, which I know you said you wanted, but that still doesn't stop it from like feeling more like Breath of the Wild, very survival like in a lot of ways. And we mentioned it as well. I can't help but feel like maybe they should have released a Switch Pro just to at least get the game to
Yeah.
run so smoothly. And here's the thing. I went from my first 2 hours of playing Zelda and then I jumped onto Call of Duty. The smoothness that Call of Duty was showing me was like I can't play this game because like I'm so used to what the Switch is outputting, whether it's docked or whether it's handheld. Like it doesn't compete with modern games, and I get the whole point is that they're going for their game design is going to be what takes you over it. But I have to and I don't know, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it was Tears of the Kingdom's fault, but like my first couple games of Call of Duty I sucked because like my brain needed to relearn, the frames a second and things like that. Like it is that big of a difference. And Craig, I'm not sure if you've experienced that yet, or maybe you haven't played anything other than Tears of the Kingdom. But
I
I want
did.
I
I
want you, yeah, like play another game, and I swear I'm not crazy.
Oh, I did today. My wife and I actually finished Dead Island 2. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but like we stopped because she's playing Breath of the Wild right now, which I'm so proud. I'm just a very proud husband right now. So she's playing. So while I was playing Tears of the Kingdom today, she was playing Breath of the Wild and just getting her first experience. Well, I guess she started and stopped. So like her second experience with Breath of the Wild. And we stopped after about 4 or 5 hours and then went right into Dead Island to, like, get some of the legendary weapons from that game or, like and just finish out side quests and such and finish it in general. And, it was different. The zombies were quicker, like, it's than if I was just, like, normally jumping into that game instead of so it is a weird feel. It's a different feel, most definitely, but
I'm trying not to be a hater here, but like, is that not unacceptable from a game nowadays to be that bad frame
No,
wise?
yeah, and I
it's
mentioned this to my friends about Redfall. Redfall
Yeah,
got scrutinized
it
for the
did.
way the game looked, and like yes, there are a
Yep.
ton of other issues with Redfall, and I mean a lot. um,
Yeah,
but no, I absolutely agree. I asked my friends like the question too. Like the thing is like we see Zelda, are we blind to all of
I
the
think
issues that
so.
we see on other things? And like we acknowledge it, but
Mhm.
maybe the regular gamer doesn't. Or like the Nintendo hardcore fan that doesn't care
Right.
that the game doesn't look that great or has frame rate issues. I will say I've never had a hard crash on the game, and the frame rate issues really only expose themselves when I'm like trying to move an item. I fused 3 boards together to make a bridge, and then the moment I stop moving it, it's back. So it runs.
Okay.
It's not like Redfall where it crashes or anything like
Right.
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
God
I
forbid
guess
it.
I
Yeah.
just look at it as like I have no problem looking at a Zelda game, whether it's Breath of the Wild or this one, and being like these are solid 9 games,
Hmm.
you know. But like the fact that it's just unanimously 10 out of 10. This is Elden Ring of this year, and that kind of stuff. You look at it, I'm like you're running at, if you're lucky, 30 frames, dropping down to 15 when you're fusing stuff together. And just like you said, that's okay in Zelda, but any other game, it's not.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh, it doesn't matter. 10 out of 10. I don't know. To me, that's just like, you got to be fair on both sides. If you're going to say Redfall is one of the worst games ever made, and it has the same, if Zelda's coming in with the same type of frame rate issues, you can't give it a 10. You just can't.
And that's a very interesting point too, because I can honestly tell you with the hours I put into the game that there are times where that game looks immaculate. Uh,
It looks
whatever a step below
I
immaculate
would
is.
I
Mhm.
would say like the game looks great at times, but overall looks good.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's where I
and
put the game at. Yeah.
Sure.
I've caught it a couple of times where it didn't look good, but that was just because of what I was doing at the time. Like it's got to handle. It's asking a lot. It's got 3 separate worlds. You could still kind of see the sky islands depending on where you are in the world, and it's got a there's pop in and all that type of stuff. And like I'm not that pop in sensitive. I
Mhm.
don't really care because I understand what the game is trying to do so that I can at least have a good time.
Sure.
So like it's asking a lot of like the hardware. So I don't know if that's giving it a mulligan with everybody, but it's just, you bring up a good point. Like, Redfall is considered unplayable. It's, you know,
Yeah.
it's essentially now the cyberpunk of, of this era or this year.
Yeah.
And, lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, here it comes, out Tears of the Kingdom. And there is some small issues that you can't see. There are some small issues that you can't see. So
I
I don't
just
know.
really want to see a Zelda game on like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox. Like that's what I really want to see. Like give them full reign or even on PC and be like, "All right, just make it the best Zelda game you can." Make like cuz I feel like they could make something that's just absolutely stunning, but they're just stuck on because Nintendo does not care about their hardware being up to date. They just don't because they know everybody's buying this game and they're going to make billions of dollars. They could care less.
Well, yeah, you know what they're gonna do? When that Pro Switch does come out and people like me are gonna buy it, they're gonna have like a better version for that, and then we're gonna buy it and play it again. It's gonna be Last of Us all over again.
Yep,
That's what they're gonna do.
agreed.
But yeah, that is. I'm gonna say that's the real review of Tears of the Kingdom. If you want the real review, you got to go into the
The real,
depths of.
real.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
on that real. No, I'm
We
never
on
gonna
that
say
real,
that
real.
again. I'm really sorry, guys. I can't. I could never
No,
say
say it
that
We
again.
again.
on that real.
No,
Say it
Say
again.
it again.
no,
So
I
much
can't.
swag.
No,
So much
not
swag.
no. I have none of that. No swag at all.
Oh
Uh,
my god.
but other than that, like you guys, sounds like you guys played some other games. I'll let you guys get into it.
Yeah.
Do I want to share the story
Uh-oh. He's got a
That's a
story.
yes.
from Call of Duty?
Uh-oh. You've been playing a lot of it. I've been playing a lot of Apex, new season in both right now. New character
Yeah,
in Apex is pretty cool.
yeah.
Go ahead. Give
No,
us
I
that
don't.
story.
I don't know. I don't know if I should say it, but I guess I don't know. So,
You can't start it and not finish it.
well, I'm afraid
Yeah.
of what people will think of me. Is the main thing. It's not a bad story. It's let me be honest. It's not a bad story. So, okay, here we go. This is gonna go one way or another. I'm just gonna go
Yep.
ahead and say it. So I was playing.
Let's
I was
go.
playing Call of Duty. We were playing what essentially is search and destroy.
Mhm.
And between rounds, you get to talk to the enemy team. So I'm having myself a game. I'm playing very well. And there is a girl that comes on the mic. It says Savory. I shouldn't even say my gamer tag. Sorry,
No, you
that's
shouldn't.
probably
Don't
yeah,
say it.
yeah. Um, and says that I am, I'm killing them all. Like we have to start targeting him. So then the next round, I have myself another game, and I, I said to the other player, they call me the Rizimus Latino back at home.
Oh no.
So, well, no, this story has a happy ending in the
Oh
end.
no.
Oh,
So,
Okay.
so they,
okay.
the next round comes around. I'm still having a game, and she goes, "Did you practice that? Like, did you practice that?" And I went, "Yeah, I was talking to my buddies in party chat, and then I came in and told you." And then everybody just started cracking up and dying laughing.
That's
Oh
good.
my
That's
god.
good. That's
And
That's so good.
and that was it. Like that was the end of the story. But I always feel like it's the one meme where it's like a guy gets one compliment or makes someone
yep.
laugh, and it holds him over for the entire month. That's me.
Yeah.
That's the
Those
only
are
thing I have hanging me by a string because of the 76ers. Sorry, yeah, it's bleeding
Yep.
into the podcast.
Yeah, it
This is
is.
the only thing keeping me by a string of my
What that
sanity.
is, what that
Oh
is
my
those are the
god.
kind of lobbies that stick with you. Like those are lobbies I
Yeah.
remember from old school Call of Duty, right? Where everybody's talking to each other and you're just having like the time of your life and you know 10 years later you're like, "Man, I miss those Call of Duty days." You just
Yeah.
had one.
Yeah, yeah. Like not real bad vibes in the
Right.
chat, or at least
Right.
during that story.
Everybody's just having a good time.
Wow, you did such a great job in that match. You killed it. You
Barry's
killed
the Riz
everybody.
master over here.
He's yeah.
He's
Yeah.
gonna change his
Oh my.
gamer tag.
Yeah.
Riz
And you were
master.
worried about that story.
To be fair though, like it's everybody gets canceled for everything nowadays. So I'm afraid they're gonna be like, "Weren't you worried that that girl's like underage?" And it's like I'm just can I have a little bit of fun without like being
Yeah.
tempted to be canceled? So it's like
Yeah,
that.
right.
That's why I was afraid. I'm afraid now the public opinion's gonna go. You
Yep.
know,
You're all good.
yeah. I'm glad you guys have my back.
Oh my god. Let's see.
What games you
Besides
play?
Apex, because I played a bunch. New characters, great. I my goal this week was to finish Jedi Survivor. I did that, and then the only other thing really that I have to kind of give props to is it's been a while since I played a mobile game that's pretty decent. So, if you remember What the Golf
Oh, I was
from
hoping
way
you were
back
playing
when,
Honkyo Star
Oh,
Rail.
okay.
no, they have a new one called
Oh,
What the Car,
Yeah.
and man, is that game great!
oh, dope.
Yeah. What about you? Dead Island.
Yeah, Dead Island. Well, for me, Dead Island is done. And I can have my final thoughts on that. I was supposed to put a huge chunk into Jedi Survivor, but I instead was playing Persona 5 on my Switch, and I'm sorry. That's my story of the week that I was scared about
Why?
sharing
He has over
because it's
60
awesome.
hours. He has over 60 hours in the Switch version already. He's full on
Why?
playing it through again. Sorry, I
I'm
creeped a
just
little bit
playing
on
it
your
again.
Switch profile.
Why
Yeah, I
would
No,
you
did.
do
you're good.
that? You've already beaten it once.
It's the best game of all time. And
Oh
never
my
mind.
god.
He
Never
said
mind.
it. He said it.
You think
Persona
it's
5
better than
Royal.
Kingdom Hearts, Barry?
Um.
Um, it's better than any standalone
Yeah,
Kingdom
you know what?
Hearts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I'd put Persona
Is it?
5 Royals. Yeah, I would.
Okay. As
Kingdom
long
Hearts
as
is
you're
that
sticking
child.
to it.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is that childhood game. Like, yes, it is near and dear to my heart. It does have issues. It always has.
Sure.
But I'm glad we roll together on the Persona 5 Royal train.
Oh my god, it's amazing. But yeah, so Jedi Survivor I did play a little bit more of, but like not really enough to. I think Craig's like final take should be like the steak and potatoes here. So I could really just give my final thoughts on Dead Island 2.
Give it to me. How's that ending?
It's not Tears of the Kingdom.
It's no, so like as we were clearly getting to the synopsis of the story in Dead Island 2, I remembered what you said, Craig, about how the ending creeped up on you. It did.
It just comes out of nowhere.
It does come out of
Yeah.
nowhere. However, that area, which is essentially just like it's like a red carpet, like a
Yeah.
Hollywood red carpet
It's
area.
like a hallway.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was really good. The story is not what I'm going to remember Dead Island 2 by.
Sure.
However, there was a lot of crazy characters. It's like going to a weird picnic and meeting all these crazy people, and you're like, wow, I'm going to remember them for like maybe 2 months. But the game is good.
Mm.
And it's just I don't know, it knows what it's doing. It's zombie destruction. It's that system that we talked about where you really mangle them and you could see the damage. I'm still like audibly saying out loud like, wow, that one's missing its jaw, like
Yep.
because like I'm still saying that. um I like the fact that they still continue to introduce a new variant of an apex zombie, and like the one that you see at the end, like wow,
Ugh.
like that messed me up. And now that
Hmm.
and when you start seeing him in the wild, I'm not going to tell you what it looks like or what it is, but it does mask itself as a normal zombie.
Right.
And that's the weird thing about it, is that you think you're rolling up on one of the weaker zombies, and then it turns into what is the most powerful normal zombie. My wife and I don't know if it's because we played as with two people, but we rocked the last boss.
Yeah.
Like
Pretty
he got
easily.
destroyed. But we were also level like 26. And I remember you saying, Craig, that 30 is the max,
30
right?
is the
That you can
max.
get.
Yep. Hmm.
So I understand. But I like the game. Eh, for some reason, I think it's going to end up in my top 10, and I'm not going to be able to give you guys reasons. Like when we get to like critical moment, end of the year, game of the year, we're all putting forth our like 12 angry men arguments.
Yep.
I'm going to say it's in my top 10, and I'm not going to be able to tell you why it beat out the other ones. I don't know. I'm not going to have an argument. It's a fun game.
This is one that I can already foresee myself arguing to get higher up on the list at the end of the year. Like our
Yeah.
collaborative top 10, I can tell this is one that I'm going to be like, no, it needs to be higher, than like an
Yeah.
8. I feel like it should be, as of right now, top 5. I
Yeah.
really do.
We have a friend who just bought it, and we're down to play the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
Like with her. Like we literally want to play it over again and can't wait till she gets past that hour tutorial to when you could actually, start doing the multiplayer. So
Right.
recommend it. Like I said the last time, even scaredy cats like me who love being scared but get scared easily, it's a great game. It's good. So
That's fair. Okay. So real quick on What the Car. If you've ever played What the Golf, which if you
Mhm.
haven't, you need to go play that. It's kind of along the same thing, except you're not playing golf, you're racing. But they just have such a good way of like starting off and be like, all right, you're just going to complete each mission, or each map is very short. You beat it in like less than 30 seconds. But then they start messing with the car. So now it's like, all right, this car has legs instead of wheels. This one has a jetpack, or this one has 8 legs, and just everything they do. And just like in What the Golf, the farther they go along, they really start messing with the game. I just love that. And it's nice to have a mobile game again that I enjoy playing, because I feel like it's been years since I've had like a decent, not like Marvel Snap type game on my phone where I'm like, yeah, this is, I could play this for an hour or two. Like, you don't get that, I feel like, with mobile anymore, except for
yeah.
whatever anime game Barry's playing for multiple hours on end.
Hey, when that comes out on PlayStation, I'm gonna get it. You talking about that Star Rail one?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
god.
will have impressions on it next week, just so you guys are
Yeah.
aware.
Hmm.
I'm very interested to see what you say because I was thinking about getting it, but waiting for the PlayStation
It's
version.
free to play, baby.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe.
And then Jedi Survivor. This is the one I wanted to get done this week, and I did finish it. Um, the simplest way, before I like get into the whys, is this is a fantastically done story in an absolutely terrible game, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Here's my thing.
Elaborate. Uh,
I've never in my life done 0 side missions in a game. And I did on this because I was just like, nope. Um, Problems. First and foremost, okay, so Monday, when I was like, all right, I'm gonna jump back into Jedi Survivor, I turn it on and I get hit with the 150 gig patch. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me again. But then I was like, you know what? It's probably the performance stuff. Let's get into it. It didn't fix anything. It's still bad. But anyway, the pop-ins, I'm just like you, Craig. I'm not like a big like, oh my god, these pop-ins, I can't stand them. But in this game, it's so bad that I was
mhm.
just like, oh my god, you have, like, to me in this game, the cutscenes are like the main attraction. This is where the Star Wars
Yeah.
story is. And every time I go into cutscene, not every time, 99% of the time, the backgrounds are just blobs. And then they pop in halfway through. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me, because these cutscenes are so well done. And when they do pop
Yeah.
in, they look very pretty. But man, when you first start them, they are awful. Um, the other thing is why they don't have a way without me going into the map to tell me where to go is really pissing me off. To constantly
Mhm.
be like, they're like, all right, here's where you need to go. And this is why I didn't do the side missions, because that main planet that you keep coming back to is where all those side missions are. There's a billion of them. And
There
every
is.
time I pull it up on the map and I'm like, okay, um, I could do this one. And then I went to go start one and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't even have all the necessary things like a Metroidvania. I don't have the necessary
Mhm.
things to do this. I'll come back later. And I never did. But the fact that even with my main missions, I go back to that planet and like, all right, you need to go here. I look on my map and I'm like, okay, it's over here. But there's no like, where's my dead space line on the ground or something above to tell me where to go? There isn't one. I have to constantly press select, bring up my map, and be like, all right, I'm facing the right way. I got to go this way. I'm gonna walk five steps. Am I still going the right way? Okay, cool. Now I got to go up. There's a turn. Which way do I go? It's so annoying. Just allow me to see in the game where I'm supposed to go. Give me the little compass on the top that's like pointing me where I need to go. I hate that. We don't need that in games today. Um, and then I had a lot of crashes, a ton of crashes,
Mhm.
like bad ones, like back to the main screen. I had one where uh, one of the biggest gripes, Barry, you said this before, is not knowing what you can grab onto is so bad in this game that you die, not die, but you fall so many times into pits because you're like, I think I can run on that wall, and you jump and you hit it and you fall, and you're like, I can't. But I had one later on where I climbed up to this big thing and I was like, where do I go? I think I got to go this way. So I jumped and I fell, and it just kept spawning me in a place where I just kept falling over and over and over. And I
No.
was like, this is why. But the amount of times in this game, even doing just the main missions, where I didn't know where I was supposed to go, I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and I would just stand there for like 5 minutes looking in circles, be like, "Where do you want me to go? Just what do you want me to do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do." And then I would just be like jumping into every wall, trying to climb everything, and eventually I'd be like, "Oh, there's this tiny grate up in the ceiling I didn't see that I have to pull down. Are you kidding me?" Like they've gone to the point where
Mm,
they try to not make it so obvious that it's so frustrating. And it was just making me more mad because of how much I like the story. That I was like, I
yeah,
want to see this story, but this game is awful. And I don't remember the first one being this bad with
it
like
wasn't.
lack of
Well,
direction, right?
I don't think it was. I don't think the first one was
I
as
don't
bad.
remember having a problem as much as like I'm telling you, every single mission, main mission I did, there was at least one time where I was getting like visibly angry because I didn't know what to do or I didn't know where to go. Any of that, every single mission. And every time I was like, I should just stop playing this game. But then I'd be like, nope, I need to see myself through it. Um,
Yeah.
so I like this series. I like Cal. I like Beatty. I like the side characters. They're all great. There's a moment that I'm not going to spoil later on in the game that I immediately put down in my list on my phone of best moments in games this year. I was like, oh, that got me. I like that. What?
Is it involving like a large drill
No,
creature?
but
Okay.
that was cool. That part
That
is
was
cool.
dope.
Barry, you played that
That
part
was dope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The drill
with like the
part.
green? Yeah, so
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
it's
so good.
It's not that part, but there was another
Uh-oh.
part that I was immediately like, "Ooh, this could be a contender for like my favorite, moment of the year." But yeah, man, this game is just so frustrating, and I don't understand why it's that bad. Like, why did they not test it as far as like having somebody play and be like, "Hey, I don't know where I'm supposed to go." Every single mission. Did nobody mention that, or am I just that bad? Am I old now? Is that what it is? I'm just old,
Yeah.
and I just
Well,
can't figure it out anymore.
what are the like, let's go back to what you said just real quick. What are
Hmm?
those gigs for? Why
Yeah,
is this game so big?
yeah,
It
yeah,
feels like
Why
it,
is
it.
the game so big?
Yeah, it just
yeah,
feels like, and I think I was reading an article where, like at this point, like like the amount of space that it takes up on your hard drive, like there has to almost be no game on
yeah.
that disc. Like it is the disc is almost your key, and then you have to
Mhm.
put that in to play it. The game then just downloads onto the entire game downloads onto the console, and maybe
Yeah.
that is, but I to be honest, I truly don't know.
I feel like when I installed it, there was like 40 gigs that was downloading from the disk, and then like 110 or 120 from, it had to pull down from the cloud.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're obviously setting this up as at least a trilogy. It's
Hmm.
very obvious at the end of the game that there's going to be another one, at least one more, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But to me, the drop off from the first one to the second one is massive, absolutely massive. And if the story wasn't so good, I would have been out of this game after like 2 hours. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like the first one was better about variations of different planets. This one, I feel like you just keep going back and forth between the same four planets the entire game, constantly. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, here's your main one, right? You start on Coruscant and you never go back to it. First of all, never. And then you go to the main one, and then you go to another one, which I expect. But then it's like, all right, go back to the main one. Okay, I go back. I go do whatever I need to do because now I can access another area on this planet. All right, now go back to that third planet you went to. All right, now go back to the original. I think there's only like 4 or 5 total. I'm
Yeah,
like,
because like one is
what are
yeah,
we
because there's
doing?
Shattered Moon, which you
Hmm.
go to,
Hmm.
you
Yep,
basically explore the entire of that area in the first mission you go to. You go
yep,
like, I know you go back to it, but
you do. Yeah, I'm not a fan of like it's the Metroidvania thing of continuously going back to an area and being like, all right, now you have this power, so now I can get through these green force fields, or now. And that was the other thing I didn't write down, but I was gonna try and remember was they give you too many powers in this game. It's way too many. Because you start off and you're like, all right, I have my double jump. All right, cool. Now you got your double jump with a dash at the end. All right, cool. Now you can do now you can do a thing where you can lift up things. All right, now you can do a thing where you push things down. All right, now you can do a thing where you pull. It's just they're constantly throwing more stuff at you, and I get it's to make you feel like you're a powerful Jedi. When I got to the end of the game, and let me tell you, they start throwing like a lot of enemies at you, and it feels good because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna push 6 stormtroopers away. Now I'm pulling this guy over, and as I pull him over, I stab him. Then I throw him out. Now I pick one up and slam him on the ground. Like I feel cool. I feel really cool. Um, and that's the part of the game that I'm like, they have something here, but they need to figure it out in that third game because this is not the way to go. And I have a lot of faith in Respawn. I love Respawn, but man, this isn't going anywhere near my top 10. I'll tell you that. Not at all.
Yeah, I definitely think the bugs hold this game back from what I think it
Yeah.
could be. And like, I agree with you. There are many times where I get frustrated,
Yep.
where it is like the small things, where it's like I can't find the crate that I need to
Yeah.
pull down, or it's like the
Yeah.
sometimes like the things that they want you to push or pull are highlighted like this very light green that sometimes is no different than white. It
Yep.
sometimes feels like on there, and there are a couple times that I did get um like frustrated by that, but yeah, other than that, like it is a very good like Star Wars Jedi power fantasy, other
Yep.
than the fact that the game has a decent amount of bugs still, even after its release here. And I don't have a problem with the gameplay, like the stances or anything like
Yeah.
that. I'm not sure how you felt about that kind of stuff, but I
I
do
stuck
admit
to the
the game,
same
yeah,
two the
the
whole
game
game.
design is
Yeah.
for sure a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yes,
just more angry that it was like there's a great game in there that
mhm.
you just can't get to.
Yeah, and the potential, yeah, the
Mhm.
full potential wasn't there or
Yeah.
wasn't
Oh well.
unleashed.
Yeah. Well, then let's get into movies and TV shows then.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
I
Craig.
was gonna, no, I was gonna say because like you mentioned, like like Craig carried the news. I'm gonna need you two to
All right.
carry the watch stuff because I did a whole crap ton of playing and no watching this week. So
That's fair.
So yeah, I watched Star Wars Visions season 2, and then I don't know what made me watch this. Love and Death on HBO Max.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. How about you?
Um I
that's
knocked
where
out
I'm
some
at.
movies again this week. Obviously, Evil Dead Rise, The Covenant, and Air.
There.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me see here. Where do we want to start? I
Wherever
guess I'll
you
start.
want.
I guess I'll start. Star Wars Vision season 2. It is the second season, of course, of where Star Wars kind of gives other anime or animation studios its property of Star Wars in order to create their own original stories. This batch of episodes, and I think there's 8 or 10. I actually prefer this season over the last one.
Okay.
There's a lot of like different animation studios, and what I feel like reflects more in this one is sometimes the culture that the studio was given to it. There is a Indonesian culture that gets like the Star Wars license, and it's very Indonesian influence. Like you could tell right away, and
Mhm.
like they have like different animation styles. It's just fun to see like what people do and what they decide to pick out of the Star Wars stuff in order to make like a unique hour story. By far my favorite, if you guys want to get into it, is called Spy Dancer. um I suggest watching that one. That one was awesome. I loved what Spy Dancer was. And if you're any poor, I know I'm the anime guy, but if you're any portion of someone who likes like and appreciates good animation, like Sky Dancer is an excellent one, and a lot of these are really good, excellent ones. And they're not all like overly anime. Like
Mhm.
some of them are 3D, 3D CGI type things, and I like them. But overall, like I like this season better than season 1. I hope you guys give it a shot because I hope they keep making more of these, or give Star Wars has done such a bad job of like making their own stories as of late. So these like little one-off stories, like they wrap up pretty nicely, and you can, you don't have to watch a 3 hour or 8 episode season for episode 6 or 7 to finally it for it to start to get good. So,
All right. I like the
uh,
Yeah.
first season a lot.
yeah,
I'll have to
no,
check it out.
yeah, I think you'll like it. And then Love and Death, the HBO Max limited time series. I'll be completely honest. I had no idea what this was about. I know it's about some sort of true story,
Yeah.
about like a homicide case that goes down in this little town in Texas, I think. And like overall, like we're only 5 episodes in. There's probably like an 8 episode or 7 episode count for this, but I know pretty much at the end of this season, like it's done, which I kind of like. I kind of like
Yeah.
knowing I won't have to worry about anything else after this. But I first started watching it because for Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, and I'm kind of, and I like her. So I then continue watching, and then I just started marathoning the rest, all the other episodes. I really, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like Elizabeth Olsen probably deserves some sort of like Oscar performance or Emmy performance for her performance in this show. She carries it. She does a really really good job of it. Um, Again, this is based on a true story about a homicide murder, about these people who got into a fair, and then, um, can I even spoil this
I
because
don't think you can. Yeah.
it's a past event? Like,
Yeah.
and I'll ask
Yeah.
you guys, like,
Go ahead.
do you guys know of this event? Like the whole homicide case, like this
I've
happened.
heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, because this
I
happened
don't
before
think.
any of us were born, right? Like this was
I think
the
so.
'70s, '80s, I think.
I think it was the
Oh, okay.
70s.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I know that one.
So yeah, like in this one, uh her name's Candy. Elizabeth Olsen character ends up having an affair with one of the other with another person in her choir mate that's already married. The whole thing about this thing is that she kills it. She kills the wife, and the whole like entertaining part of it is: did she do it out of jealousy? Did she have like a psychotic moment? Or did she like have a disassociation moment where the it kind of plays with the fact that we're not really sure whether or not she was jealous or whether or not she was completely like scared of for her life during this. It's because the gentleman she was having an affair with was trying to end it because he got his relationship back together, even though they said they were never going to have feelings. But that's just the way love goes.
That's feelings.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
feelings for us. Someone catches the feelings, someone's gotta die. That's how it
Yep.
all. Yep, that's how it all goes. So overall, like I suggest people watch it. I think it's pretty good. Just based off what I've watched so far. You guys will have to let me know if you did the same thing like with me, because like watched one episode and then I was 5 episodes deep before I knew it.
All right. It's on my list. I just
Okay.
the list, I feel like I have my TV show list and I'm like, I'm gonna get to this week, and then they drop like 3 movies on digital. I'm like, dang it. Guess I'm watching movies
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah,
Every week
exactly.
it
Yeah.
feels like. And I think like John Wick comes out on digital soon too. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
Yes.
I need to finally
I
watch
can't
John
wait.
Wick.
There you
Yeah.
go. All right.
Yeah, same.
Let's see. Evil Dead Rise. Did not see
Tell
this one
me.
in theater, so I had to wait for digital on this one. It's still overly over the top with like the blood. It's always been that way. What I appreciate about this movie is it kind of leans more into like a psychological a little bit, which I don't really see in an Evil Dead movie that much. I like the idea of there's like 6 or 7 people and they're all in this apartment, kind of trapped in this apartment, and you obviously have the one person who gets possessed, but it kind of like branches out, infects everybody as it goes. There's some pretty interesting, not necessarily deaths, but like I don't even know what you call it, wounds that kind of make you like an Evil Dead, where you kind of go, oh god,
Ouch.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was one particular that I had heard about, I hadn't seen, but it involves a cheese grater, and I was like, "Oh God," But that's Evil Dead. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like the one they did a couple years ago, it was the glass. If you remember, cutting her tongue, she like cuts
Oh,
her tongue in
yeah,
half.
that was sick. That was
Oof.
awesome.
Oof. Like that's what we come to Evil Dead for, and there's plenty of that in this movie, but you could definitely tell there's more of like definitely like an undertone of kind of messing with everybody. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it's good. It's short. It's to the point. It's like an hour and a half. It's like here's your 10-minute setup. All right, we're getting right into it, which I can appreciate in a horror movie. So yeah, that one's a definite. That one's probably going to end up on my list, I think, at the end of the year. That might be a top 10 contender for me. Um, Air, which I had my eye on this one, but it's not something I would see in theaters. That dropped on Amazon Prime this week out of nowhere.
Oh, cool.
Um, so that one I was surprised, but that has to do with Nike trying to sign Michael Jordan. And if you
Oh
watch
yeah,
The
yeah.
Last Dance with Michael Jordan, he kind of, talks about that. But this is from the position of seeing how Nike did it. Matt Damon is the main lead in this. There's a ton of people in this movie. To me, this movie was fascinating. And you kind of feel like watching this movie, I'm like, I kind of feel gross that it's making me feel for Nike, because you're kind of like, it's like
Yeah.
$1 billion company. But it was just fascinating to me how they grabbed somebody like Michael Jordan who had no interest in signing a shoe deal with Nike, and found a way to get him to sign. And not only that, they do a great job of showing how important Michael Jordan's mother was in this whole situation. And again, he alludes to it in The Last Dance. If you watch that, about he didn't even want to go to the meeting, his mom made him go. And she also, you will find out, had a huge hand in completely changing how deals work for athletes from that point on until today, as far as percentages.
Oh
It was
wow.
it was her. And it's crazy. It was an incredible movie. It's one of those movies where after I was done, I was like, do I like these movies now because I'm older? Because I feel like when I was younger, I would have not given a movie like this the time of day. But now that I'm older, I watch these movies and I was like, that was an interesting movie. And I think it is just because I'm older. It doesn't all have to be
Yeah.
like action all the time for me. But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great movie. And then The Covenant, which is a Guy Ritchie movie. I love Guy Ritchie. He's great.
He is great.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Just this has to do when I think it was early 2000s over in Afghanistan. It has to do with an interpreter that's working with American troops. Jake Gyllenhaal's unit gets attacked. He gets injured, and the interpreter drags him through the mountains for days to get him out, and eventually leads to Jake Gyllenhaal getting sent home and him being like, "This man did so much for me. I owe him a debt," and him going back in to Afghanistan to get him and his family out and to get him his immigration papers to get him out of that situation. Another great movie as well. Uh, Absolutely incredible. Again, Guy Ritchie. I love Guy Ritchie movies. It has a certain style to it, and it's just extremely well done. This is one I did want to see in theaters. It's just one of those ones where it came out around the same time as something else, and something has to get sacrificed. I don't know which one I went and saw instead. But yeah, that's another one that for sure. I don't know if it ends up in the top 10. It might, but if it doesn't, it's going to be real close. So I'm trying not to like spoil anything with these movies so people don't know the whole story. In my mind, I try to think back to the trailers and be like, I only want to talk about what was in the trailer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that way I'm not
Mhm.
ruining everything. But that's another one I would highly recommend checking out as well.
Yeah, Covenant
All right.
definitely piqued my interest.
Hmm.
Out of
Yeah.
all
You would
three of the
love it.
movies,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I'll have
That's
to
a
take a
great
look at
story.
it.
Hmm.
Is that a true story or anything like that, or is it
I
just a
don't know.
okay?
I don't
Loosely, at
think
least.
so. It may have been based on something, but there
Yeah,
wasn't really anything at the end that kind of alluded to that it was. I feel like he may have taken a couple stories and kind of combined them, maybe.
yeah, we'll see.
I
Yeah, or
don't think
maybe
it's
it's
like
just
a one
original.
for one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's completely like thing where it could be an original thing,
Right.
especially.
Right.
So that's going to be it for the podcast this week. I thank everybody for listening. Please make sure to review it on your podcast listening platform of choice. Leave a review if you liked it, and make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. Please make sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok pages as we are coming out with content on those, and we appreciate all the support we've been getting from everybody on all those so far. So, other than that, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
See you
Later,
later.
guys.